I would like to acknowledge the Wurrungam people, the traditional owners of the land on which I call home. I would like to pay my respect to the elders, past, present and future, for their ongoing relationship with country and all that is inherent with country of ancestral domains. I thank the Indigenous Australians for their traditions, culture, courage and aspirations. I forewarn that this story contains images of deceased people. I observe that mainstream Toowoomba fosters white privilege, devaluing and ignoring Indigenous peoples, culture and country. I was born into and raised in white privilege. In 1989 I was born at a Catholic hospital, and during the 90s I was raised by my biological, Anglo-Saxon, middle-class Christian family. I continued to live with my mother in the same house until I was 19, when I moved to university. My 12-year formal education was conducted through an Anglican school by white teachers. Indigenous Australians were not explicitly valued in the local environment, instilling its values of white privilege in me. My childhood significantly contributes to my current lifestyle within mainstream society, where most people are either ignorant of or outright deny the invasion by Europeans to foster white privilege. Pre-settlement Toowoomba was home to between 1,500 and 2,500 Indigenous people and attracted tribes from nearby areas during the Bunyinut Festival. However, by 1870, despite defending their lands, local tribes were nearly wiped out by European settlement, which introduced diseases, social disruption, relocation, and genocide. The lives of local tribes people would continue to be destroyed for at least another 150 years. Between 1897 and 1957, Aboriginal survivors of frontier violence were segregated and relocated under the absolute control of the Queensland government. The 1967 referendum influenced social change in Australia, assimilating Indigenous Australians into white culture. In 1993, the Native Title Act was introduced, legally dismissing the original belief of terra nullius. And in 2008, the Goomanguru land was handed back to the Goomanguru Aboriginal Corporation. Although policy, laws and the Toowoomba community now hold greater respect for the values and acknowledgement of Indigenous culture, there remains a covert racial segregation between the two groups. Campbell Page, 2011, identified that the majority of Toowoomba residents are white, Christian, and with a median age of 35 to 39 years. Currently, Toowoomba has an active Indigenous community, with about 3% of residents who identify as Indigenous, comprising descendants of local groups, the Darling Downs and Southwest Queensland. However, many health and educational institutions tend to value white culture whilst marginalising Indigenous culture. For example, there is one Indigenous kindergarten and 2 community centres in Toowoomba. This is compared to approximately 45 schools that privilege white culture, with most boarding schools providing scholarships for Indigenous people. Through reflection of my childhood and current research on the topic, I have identified that marginalisation, oppression and discrimination of Indigenous people, culture and country continue in Toowoomba. As a human being desiring liberation from neoliberalism, I am motivated to create social justice and advocate for human rights in my professional and personal life. I am an ally for Indigenous Australians.